Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I wanted to do basically a video on spring cleaning, clearing out negative thought processes and tape loops, death of people, as well as the potential of people. So basically death of the potential of people. Literally spring cleaning all over my life. So today I cleaned our entire house. It's so nice to have a day off and spend that time doing chores, doing things that you don't normally get to do. This morning was so nice. We had maple flavored breakfast sausages with eggs and bacon and coffee, and it was just so nice to have a slow start to the day. And then I literally deep cleaned the whole house. I swept and mopped and vacuumed and wiped down literally every surface in this house, and it just feels so nice to welcome in spring on a clean note. We had the windows open literally all day today, fully open, and it wasn't cold or anything. It was comfortable. The birds were out, the sun was out. Just a beautiful spring day. I'm so nice. I'm so nice. It's so nice to finally be able to open the windows again and clean and let fresh air in. Winter has honestly been so hard this year. I feel like I've just been hibernating and literally inside the whole time working, and it's just so nice to get back to normal life. I'm a very big energy person. I am very connected to my surroundings. I feel like having the windows open just lets me kind of navigate what's going on externally without necessarily being outside. So in the summer, I love having the windows open. It basically allows me to know what I want to wear or what the weather is, if that smell before rain. I just love having the windows open. So yeah, and I have Mr. Teddy, my little support bear. He's so cute. I've had this since I was literally a kid. I won it in elementary school. There was a draw for whatever reason, a prize or something, and I ended up winning. And yeah, this is Teddy. Also, clearing out negative tape loops and negative thought processes we may have going on. I know sometimes for me personally, with family members or friends, it's so hard to see the potential in someone and see the good in someone, but them not necessarily wanting to change or improve their lives for the better. And it's so hard to see yourself progress in your life and watch other people stay stagnant or stuck or not want to change or evolve or try new things. I think if anything, it's taught me who I want to be around and who I don't want to be around, what I want to be like and what I don't want to be like. I definitely don't have time for people that don't like trying new things or are very limited or don't want to try new experiences. I always live life to the fullest. I love meeting new people. I love connecting with people. I love adventures. I love being outside. I love learning. I just love life, and I have such a lust for life. And this winter has been so hard with how much growth and learning and self-reflection I've done, but I think it'll blossom me and bloom me into the most beautiful flower this summer, and I literally cannot wait. I am so excited. I think working full-time, not only a pandemic, I was working on the front lines for a little part of the beginning part of the pandemic, basically before literally all of the plastic shields were going up and we were all navigating this together. I now work from home, and it is an extremely humbling experience. I'm not saying I make the most money in the world, because I definitely don't. Working from home is definitely such a privilege, and it's also very strange because I think a lot of companies, now that the pandemic is over, or at least enough people stood up for themselves and were like, hey, we're really fed up of this, and no one seems to be listening, and it seems to be funding everyone else's agenda but the people's, and all of a sudden now everything's dropped. But I think a lot of companies, cities, places in general want their employees to go back to the office. And I think work culture or work-life balance is such because yes, there is a significant chunk of people that, need to go into the office and communicate with people and thrive with the business environment, and I totally understand that. But there's also a vast majority of people that like myself, I used to be an extrovert. I used to get my energy from other people. I used to being an extrovert. I used to get my energy from other people, from connecting with people. What I've learned about myself and in my sobriety is that I truly get my energy from being alone. That is when I take my time to recharge. And I think if a company were to force me to go back into the office as someone that truly does work better alone and has proven that I can do my job at home probably better than I can with people peering over my shoulder or bothering me or talking to me or eating around other people. I'm just straight up not into it. I'm literally not into that energy at all. And I think a lot of companies that aren't as flexible, or at least are saying, we're not going to pay you anymore, but we also want you to come back to the office, even though we know you can do your job just as effectively at home. Gas prices are at an all-time high. It's astronomical. It's almost like the elite want to keep us scared and keep us hungry and keep us broke so that we're, you know, just tired enough to go to work. Touching on that, I want to basically pull this up. This guy was like, not addressing inflation is intentional. So basically not addressing inflation is intentional. Like they are intentionally not addressing it because it's part of their agenda. Letting inflation go psycho is an intentional move by the government, because in order to make people more willing to work for crumbs again. So, you know, if we can't afford food, if we can't afford gas, if we can't afford literally anything in our lives, we're inclined to work so we're able to provide it. But the reality is like in the 1970s is basically when the ultra powerful and the age gap from CEOs to baseline employees really took a spike. And I think it's disgusting. I think it's sad. I think a lot of places in the world are trying to dominate. And I think a lot of us throughout the pandemic, myself included, are like, hey, you know, we're kind of happier with a very slow, simple life, you know, growing our own food, having literal, real, fresh food from dirt that we know exactly what is in it and it's made exactly how it's supposed to be, that will benefit and nourish our bodies. We don't really want all of the additives and fake stuff that you guys have been putting in our food. There's an app called Yuka, YUKA. I'll post a picture of it. It literally scans barcodes of food items and essentially tells you, you know, on a scale of green to red, if the food is good or not. And that to me is scary, that we even have to scan our food nowadays. There's so much sugar and refined sugar and all of this that they put in food that is now made normal cereals, or, you know, normal things that we would think like, oh, this is probably going to be good for me. These wraps are probably going to be good for me, right? But they put so much extra stuff in it just to make a profit and keep the margins low, while actually poisoning us. And then what happens when they poison us? They poison us, we get sick. Oh, here's big pharma here to medicate us. Oh, what happens with big pharma? Now we're addicted, right? Oh, and we're exhausted, we're addicted, we're distracted, right? That's the major thing that the top few people, the World Economic Forum and all their little pawns, that is exactly what they want, is to keep us distracted, keep us addicted, keep us literally anything from looking at the truth. I live in a demonic. I do live in a demonic country, honestly. I live in a democratic country, and a lot of people, I can feel in my soul a revolution is coming, because nothing feels normal anymore. Nothing feels real. I feel, and I truly believe this, that there's good and bad in the world, right? I was talking to my boyfriend about this, how, you know, it was a whole other story, but we were watching this documentary and how who are literally sick individuals, right? If we're talking morals, good and bad, do you wake up in the morning wanting to harm people? Do you wake up in the morning choosing good or bad? Do you wake up in the morning wanting to be a good person or a bad person? Do you wake up in the morning, you know, choosing good, or do you choose evil? And there are people that constantly choose bad and choose harm over literally anything else. And those are the people that all of us good people are coming after. We're going to expose everything. And to touch on that point of basically getting let out on probation. What is the probation for? You can't fix that. That person is a sick individual. They've proven they're a sick individual. Maybe needs a lethal injection, right? No one wants to go down the dark negative side of that. But, you know, for me, as someone who maybe has too strong of an opinion, I think that, you know, what do you do with a sick dog that bites a child, right? Oh, the dog needs to be put down because it bit the kid, da 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 da. When the reality is, we have sick humans, we have sick individuals, evil individuals, greedy, disgusting individuals, and then we have sick individuals. And what do? Oh, we can rehabilitate them. We can put them on probation. When the reality is, you can't, there's certain things that once you cross that line, you can't fix, right? You make a conscious decision, and if you cross a line that clearly, you know, is not morally ethic, right? Like, you could be the best person in the world, right? I heard someone say like, oh, maybe he's not a good Christian. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what does that even mean? Because for me, you either choose to do good or bad. You either go out into the world choosing good or bad. You either harm people or you don't. And you either wake up wanting to choose good or you choose bad. And those things tell us everything we need to know. If there are people that choose bad repetitively, harm other people, and have crossed the line so many times, there has to be a fine line. I truly believe that. And I think it's the exact same way when it comes to how this world is run, right? I think the fact that they're trying to push a digital ID, which is basically like, hey, crypto is actually becoming something. Let us control everything about you. Let us give you little tokens. You can live your life and own nothing and be happy. I don't think I'm actually happy if I own nothing, right? I think everybody wants a house or their own space. Everyone wants a little extra money to travel and actually do things that make them happy. Their passions and arts, right? I think healthy people want that. And I genuinely feel sad that the world has come to a place where we genuinely do not know what is real anymore. We have bought off politicians. We have certain facades, sorry for lack of a better word, that are happening in front of our face to distract us from what's really going on. It's all really just a distraction. I literally just lost my train of thought because I'm like ranting. I guess I don't even know where I was going with that because I'm literally so heated right now. The moral of the story is like, I am so sick of one person making rules for millions. I watched a documentary yesterday that came out on, it's this like nature subscription you can get. It was basically talking about the world's water and energy and how everything is going nuclear, but we don't have a proper way to dispose of it. The whole time I was just so depressed because they literally showed this guy that created antifreeze for a car, cooling or whatever, and a different material that was used, basically like liquid down oil for gasoline. It was basically proven. They said, oh, it kills people. It's not good for the earth. They said that 50 years ago. 50 years later, we're still using it, right? Because a small number of people profit from it. Do you really genuinely think the ultra rich and the ultra elite care about the world ending or care about a massive climate crisis? Because the reality is there's going to be a lot of people that die and those families won't be touched or affected because they can afford to watch the world burn. And that to me breaks my heart. It's absolutely disgusting. I am one of those people that was raised properly and actually learned good from wrong and chose to do good and still wants to do good and wakes up in the morning thinking about all of the beautiful positive things in life. And I'm not out here preaching. I understand life happens, negative things happen. Some people are working so hard, they're in trauma, they're just living by day to day, like myself included. I couldn't grieve properly because I was so busy that I didn't have time to properly grieve, which is so crazy, but it's reality when you work 9 to 5 and you have to put food on the table. When it comes to people that are like, oh, just get a second job, get a third job, do this, do that. It should not be that way. If you work full time anywhere, I don't care if you're cooking up sandwiches or you're bagging groceries or you're filling gas. If you work somewhere full time for these multi-million, billion, trillion at this point, because we just keep printing money. If you work full-time somewhere, you should be able to make money and then some. You should be able to afford rent. You should be able to afford healthcare, proper healthcare, dental, vision, physiotherapy. You should be able to live. You should be able to have money to put aside. I read this thing that was showing in the 1900s, rent was, you got paid I think it was $4,000 a year and rent was $27 a month. What happened? There's no way that someone's entire paycheck for an entire month should be just their rent. People, including myself, are not even able to live. We can't live like this. It's not sustainable. And that is exactly what they want. That is what the elite wants. That's what the World Economic Forum wants. That is what the small sliver of people want, is to keep us hungry enough to keep coming back for more. And the problem is we have now lost our fundamental human rights. Living and having a certain standard of living to a certain extent is a basic human right. And I mean this with all the respect in my heart, because I have seen people of color, people of every single color, people of every single ethnicity, orientation, whatever you want to say. Everyone is basically comparing this to slavery.
What's something that you're aware of, but the majority of people just aren't ready to hear?
Most jobs today are modern day slavery. How do you know your job is slavery? If you want to do it for free. The elites are on a whole different level. You got to understand. They saw that, okay, we can't do slavery because it's too obvious. It's too blatantly obvious. It's right in their face. It's clearly wrong. But if we actually make every race work for us for as minimal payment as possible, we can still profit off it like it's slavery. They got us. They tricked us. We are literally, we cannot not go to work or not pay our bills or we will literally die. Like, and it's all made up. It's all a made up system. Time is the most valuable thing we have, yet we spend it at jobs we hate so we can get more money to live, to continue to do the jobs we hate. Capitalism gonna be the death of us, I'm telling you. We gotta wake up.
All right, I don't care if nobody called me lazy, but I said what I said. The Industrial Revolution really screwed us. For one, they brainwashed us to think we got 24 hours in a day. We don't. We have 12 hours in a day, and you want me to give you 8. You want me to give you 8 hours of my day, at least 5 days a week. So I only have 2 days to myself. No, we're not put on this world to freaking work every single day, work 90% of our life. We're not put on this world to do that. We're humans. They are using us.
Slaves worked and they were provided housing. Now we're slaves and we have to pay for our own housing. Why is someone that is working minimum wage, who is trained, who is, managing other people, companies don't value people anymore. They'll train them, they'll get experience, and then they wonder, oh, why are they leaving to go to another company to make more? Well, maybe because you hired the employee, then they successfully went through training, so they should be paid more. After training, and they're there for a certain X amount of time, they should be paid more again. If they're working other positions to train other people or work to advance the company anyways, they should be paid for that. They should be paid more. Just because you're working the same position doesn't mean you're not being trained higher and you're not working harder at that position. And I think that we have devalued people so much. And by we, I mean society, which truly is faceted by the government, which are just pawns for the ultra rich corporations that literally work them like puppets. It's actually disgusting. There are some people, Kim Kardashian included, oh, nobody wants to work these days. Nobody wants to get up and work.
Generous with helping people, like it does
come back to you.
Get your fucking ass up and work.
It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
That's so true.
You have a good work environment where everyone
Loves what they do.
If you're the smartest person in that room,
You gotta go to another room.
Kim's so out of touch with reality. It's like, okay, what about the people that are working full time? What about the people that are working time and a half? What about the people that are struggling to live? You don't think that they would love to have a business that they're passionate about? They just didn't get a leg up for it. And Kim's literally just another pawn for the corporations. She clearly doesn't know how to pay people properly or value anyone besides herself, really. And it's just so funny because rich people will live in their little circles and they never have to leave their little circles. They don't have to see homeless people. They don't have to see poor people. They don't have to see people struggling because they live in these little gated communities to keep all the poor working people out, the people that feed their mouths. And the ideology that anyone is better than anyone because of social status, degrees, whatever. How many times throughout this year have we seen people in power make a joke out of themselves and a joke out of literally our countries? We have people that are trading stocks internally that, is completely corrupt in the government, which should not be happening at all. Nancy Pelosi. We have people making health calls with no proper evidence or no proper, literally any proof, basically. And it's literally all to fund Pfizer, which that's a whole other topic because at this point, we all know that there's adverse side effects and literally it's so sick. It's so sick. I don't care if you have this many degrees. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care if you're a CEO. Keep your opinions to yourself. Shut your mouth and go to work.
Get your fucking ass up and work.
You know what I mean? Like, if you can't put the work in, like everybody else on this planet that is working their ass off for literally breadcrumbs, losing physical and mental health to fund other people's pockets, if you're not doing that on the front line, or at least showing that you're working your ass off, keep your opinions to yourself. I am positive that there are people out there that are like, she is spitting facts. And I genuinely feel that way because I know for me, I definitely don't want to hear a CEO of Pfizer, oh, we need a 4th shot, when he is not a medically trained professional. So it just goes to show how deep the corruption is and how deeply rooted a lot of people are in evil. There is so much evil in this planet, and it's literally heartbreaking to think of like the fact that, you can go out into the world and be surrounded by evil. It's genuinely scary, and it genuinely scares me that there are people that wake up and choose evil because it's easier or they're sad or whatever. People will take any out to make an excuse for something instead of actually working on it and improving it for themselves. ourselves? If we have these medications that help people, you know, why aren't we wanting to help ourselves? Even if, and I'm talking like there are a lot of medications and things like that are not good at all and should not be abused or used, period. But there are people that genuinely do need a little bit of support, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, the fact that our food makes us sick, big pharma's there to pick up the pieces, oh, and then we're still addicted, and then we're all completely distracted from the reality of what's going on is heartbreaking. You know, everyone says, oh, Marley, you know, Elon and whatever, you know, planting trees wouldn't fix anything. And 1 billion trees were planted in China, and it did a whole lot of work. And I just, I don't know. I, for a long time, used to think about conspiracy theories, and I was like, oh, Marley, like, you're going off the deep end. Like, but it's like, it's almost like our society shames people for doing critical thinking or asking questions. It's just like, oh no, be quiet, you know, let everybody fill their pockets until they throw up at the table because they've overeaten and overindulged. No one on this planet deserves that. Not one single person. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what family you come from. I don't care what school you went to. I don't give a about any single person on this planet. All of us as a whole matter. We all matter. We all have feelings and emotions, maybe not to the same degree, right? There are people that choose evil and do not want to help themselves, and that's scary, and that's definitely something that scares me constantly. And there's people that do good and you know, do want to be better and work their asses off, and I feel like we need to support and validate those people more. I don't understand how in the 1900s a single man could work a single job and have a family and pay things off and save money to actually live. And nowadays we have boomers bought houses way back in the day in Toronto that are now selling them for $1 million and are like, oh, why can't you work? Why can't you work? I will tell you firsthand, I make minimum wage and I work full time, and if I didn't have my boyfriend living with me and helping me the way he does, my life would not exist. And that's not, oh, Marley, are you scared? Like, are you scared? Like, are you gonna be forced to continue to work and cog in the system, whatever? And the answer is no. I don't feel scared anymore. I feel free. I watch Russell Brand's videos, and he is one of the most inspiring men on the platform, really. I look up to him so much. I look forward to when his videos drop. If he was live in Canada, I would be there in a heartbeat. And also, I do want to touch on YouTube taking down Nelk's video with Trump. I watched that podcast on Spotify. Thank you, Spotify, for not, you know, hiding people's voices and allowing free speech just because people don't agree with it. Hello, we're in 2022. People have a different opinion than you, and that's okay. Some are wrong and some are right, and some are evil and some are not evil. But at the end of the day, people have a voice. That is why, you know, free speech is a thing. Right? Whether it's right or wrong, let people make an educated decision on that, right? Let people have the know-how to actually decide what is right and wrong and to see information for what it is. So good on Spotify for that, because a lot of people gave Joe Rogan flack when in reality, people need to stop being scared and just actually learn to formulate an educated opinion. But I listened to that podcast on Spotify, non-centered, non-filtered, just real and raw, and it was a great interview. I thought Trump was very eloquent. I thought he spoke on a lot of topics in a very professional manner. I thought he was well spoken. I thought, you know, a lot of points that were made were honest, and I think that the reality is Putin made this move on the world because Biden is in office and would not react the way Trump did. And let's look at gas prices that when Trump was in office. I could go into that for literally an hour. But the reality is the fact that YouTube took that down really, really does say a lot, because if any single person on this moment goes to Spotify and listens to the podcast, there's not any racist, negative, certain side, left, right, whatever opinions in there. It's just a conversation. And the fact that just because he's an unpopular person or the media has portrayed this, that, and the third, they took the video down is very telling, and it's very scary. I think that scares me to no end, because obviously I'm a 25-year-old person, and it's like, if we're taking down content that has zero hate speech and zero agenda, is just a conversation, what else is going on? You know what I mean? I just realized that light isn't on and it bothers me. I feel like these videos, I'm like this as a person. I literally will plan something out so hard, and then I just sit down and spill my guts, because I didn't even get ready for this video, because I work things up in my head so much to the point where like I can't even properly execute them. So I just have to set it up and sit down and let it go and just, you know, be real and candid. I think we are so close to a revolution. Yes, we got masks taken away and certain mandates. You know, I think a lot of people are realizing that They don't need to be going back into the office. They're not getting paid enough. Nobody's being compensated appropriately. We're being micromanaged up the ass, and we have zero benefits. You know, we're all overworked and underpaid. And I have a weird feeling that if inflation is going to stay where it is to keep us hungry and keep us working, keep us hungry, really. But the reality is, I have a feeling that a lot of people are going to come together and we're going to flip the narrative, because in other countries, a 4-day work week with actual proper pay, you know, work-life balance is a thing. We are not robots. We are not meant to work 5 days a week and have 2 days to barely recuperate before we're snapped back into it. Times have changed. We haven't addressed any of this for hundreds of years. 5-day work week was implemented 100 years ago. There's certain things that have not changed. And the fact that corporations are profiting the most while other people are struggling, dealing with people dying, losing their jobs, losing their businesses. The fact that real people are suffering and corporations are profiting and not putting any of that back into the people just shows you what's going on. And I think a lot of people have taken this time to readjust, to reevaluate, and to redefine what life means to them. I know myself personally, this is not sustainable. Modern day slavery, barely any benefits, is not gonna last. It really isn't. And to all the rich people that genuinely think they deserve it, I would love to see you work, you know, a week in a restaurant during a rush. I would love to have people tell you no. I would love for you to do your job to a T and people still tell you you were wrong, because every single person on this planet needs to be humbled. No one is better than anyone else. Mentally, maybe. Visually, maybe. But at the end of the day, we are all the exact same, except for the good and evil. That's where it takes a turn. But what I will say is, I have a feeling a revolution is going to come. A lot of people are not going to allow themselves to fall victim to basically the 1% taking full advantage. And I think we're all becoming obviously aware of what is really, really going on. I hope that we can all stick together and make a change, because I know I am not too scared to stand up. And I have heard people living comfortably that are still, you know, ready to stand up and say, enough's enough. We need a change. Work-life balance is a thing. Real people are a thing. It's time for a change. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a beautiful day or night, or whenever you guys watch this. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video.